they say. Well, this is the first one, so I think it's important that I tell you a little bit about where I'm coming from, what I'm doing here, why I'm doing it, etc, etc, etc. Now, I've been here for donkey's years. I came here in '93 when I was just a young boy with barely any requirement to shave. Fine, I've been here for donkey's years and I came here from Britain. Now, obviously, I was raised and educated in Britain, which essentially dictated everything I knew about everything. I'd never been to Hungary before, I'd never been anywhere near this part of Europe before. So all of that, in retrospect, was a problem. I came here not with no information at all, but rather with set ideas which I had been taught in school, in Britain, in British society, etc, 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 and that was a problem. But that problem has now been dealt with. I came to Hungary when I was still young enough to learn, and I was essentially re-educated by Hungarians, by Hungary itself, so that I'm now at a different level. I came when I was still able to learn, and I have learned. Now, the thing that really gets up my nose, really fucking gets up my nose, is the fact that we are exposed day by day by day by day to a deluge of lies and shit coming from the West. Okay, we also know that it comes from within the country, fine, but I'm less concerned with what comes from within the country than what comes from the West, which comes from France, Germany, Amsterdam, Belgium, and mainly Britain. Now, the problem it causes me is that we all know that each nation is essentially interested in one thing, themselves. The French are interested in the French and not much else. The Germans are interested in the Germans and not much else. The British are practically obsessed with themselves and couldn't give a flying fuck about anything else. Fine. This is all fine. This is all great. This is all dandy. Hats off to everyone. But as Hungarians, we face a problem. In that every time we pick up some sort of international newspaper, every time we look at the internet, something reported from beyond our own borders, we don't have the luxury of being able to concentrate solely on ourselves because we are forever coming in for a kicking from the British, from the French, from the Dutch, from the Belgians, for Christ's sake, from the Germans, from everybody west of us. They seem to take nothing better in their stride than giving us a good fucking kicking every day. And this gets up my nose to an extent that you cannot even believe. So, what we've got here, as far as I can see, is that we've got a twofold problem. We've got a two-pronged problem. The people who are sent here to work for the BBC, when we really know they're in fact spies, whatever, fine, that's one section. These people, they're simpler to understand in that they are the ones who are paid. They're paid, they have masters, the masters tell them, write this, they write this. The masters say jump, they say how high. Fine. They're here, they're doing a job. It's not a particularly pleasant idea, but then the world is full of people who aren't particularly pleasant, so, well, it's par for the course, isn't it? Yes. Now, the other group, they're the ones who are perhaps the more cynical group. They're the ones who know what they're doing and they just cover it up. Now, the first group, that's slightly different in that these people genuinely believe that they're doing the right thing. They genuinely believe that they're fighting the right fight. They're wrong. Quite fucking obviously they're wrong, they just can't see it. And that also pisses me off. The fact that these people use incredibly underhand tactics. These people invite our democratically elected ministers or members of our government, people who have been put there by the majority of Hungarians. So that gives them some sort of credibility. They are then invited into TV studios where every underhand trick in the book is used to try and undermine these people, to undermine their credibility, and that is just not on. That is really, really not on. If you're going to try and be credible, then try and be credible, but to do that is, no, that's not on at all. That really undermines your own credibility, not the credibility of the person who's being interviewed. I'm sorry, you've got it backwards. Now, these people are convinced that they have the moral high ground. That's complete bollocks. They don't have any moral high ground. Morally, they are far, far, far beneath us. They are nowhere near us. Unfortunately, in other terms, in terms of position, in terms of power, they are far, far ahead of us. Now, this is due to tradition, etc., etc., the fact that, we were locked away for so long. Fine. There are very many various reasons, most of them historical, as to why we're in this position and they're in that position. But that doesn't take away from the fact that, in my opinion, that position is unjustified. They should not be in such a position of power. We should be on a level playing field. Fine. We're not at the moment, but we're getting there. Don't worry, we will get there. Now, these people, both these groups, the ones who are doing it either for pure, simple financial reasons, or the ones who are doing it because they feel that they're fighting the good fight and they are taking the fight to the Hungarians, who are nasty people who all should be wiped off the earth. Fine. These people exist in the shadows. They are protected by large corporations, large people who cast a shadow which covers them. Fine. And it's very, very rare that the light is actually shone onto them so that we can actually see who they are, and what lies behind them. That's what we're going to be doing here. It doesn't happen often, but we're going to shine the light on them and reveal the lack of credibility that they have. So, that's the basic introduction. This is where we're going. This is where I'm come from. This is where I'm heading. This is what I want to do with it. So until next time, just remember, white Mercedes, fuck off. We've got second-hand bananas, mate. See you next time.